Okay, so in this video we are going to continue our tour through the brain, and where we left off before, we were traveling through, we had done telencephalon, some parts of diencephalon, and we are now getting into the mesencephalon because we have the crus cerebri, and that third ventricle is closing up into the mesencephalic aqueduct. I do want to point out that the diencephalon goes quite a bit farther into the mesencephalon, so that, can you see that pretty well? Okay. So that if you look at this hemisected brain, whoop, hello, stay there. Where that optic tract ends, that would be our lateral geniculate, medial geniculate. Those are part of diencephalon. This is conscious vision, conscious hearing. The other two bumps, rostral and caudal colliculi, are part of that mesencephalon. So we can get this last part of diencephalon tends to overhang the mesencephalon. So let me just show you on this section then things that we still have. I think we talked earlier about the cortex, corona radiata, corpus callosum. You should all get that now. Our lateral ventricles. The fornix of the hippocampus is now starting to turn into the gyri here, and we'll see that in a little few more sections. So that the mass of tissue located approximately here and here would be our lateral and medial geniculate bodies. So conscious vision, conscious hearing. Then we get into our crus cerebri, again, the continuation of our internal capsule from our previous section. So we know we have mesencephalon in this. We also have telencephalon and diencephalon. So that was the earlier section. Let me take you from, essentially, this was the same section that we just looked at. So I'm going to flip it over on the other side and watch what happens. Now, we went from sort of this butterfly look to sort of what I call the Mickey Mouse appearance. One of the things that we can see, we still have crus cerebri on the bottom. Those are the little butt cheeks that look like this. Okay. So we know we have mesencephalon. Here's a beautiful mesencephalic aqueduct. As it turns out, in this the way that we've cut this particular section, we can see our lateral and medial geniculate bodies. They're more dorsal and ventral, but lateral and medial geniculates. And catching the beginning of these two little bumps at the top, that would be our rostral colliculi. So in this particular section, we'd have telencephalon, diencephalon, mesencephalon. The next section after that would look a lot like this, where we still have cortex out here, so we have telencephalon, but we've lost our geniculates, and so there's no more diencephalon. We have our rostral, collicula up here at the top, our mesencephalic aqueduct, and this is a really interesting slice here showing us the transition from our crus cerebri to our transverse pontine fibers. Once you get into pons, you know you have metencephalon. So I'm going to turn this over. And now notice that instead of having the two bumps on the bottom, as we saw before, we have this very smooth curved appearance to the bottom. So we have transitioned from crus cerebri to pons. The pons and the cerebellum are part of the metencephalon. So these fibers coming around here would be transverse pontine fibers. And it's hard to see here, but there will be longitudinal fibers of the pons that would have been the continuation of the crus cerebri tracks as they're heading down that spinal cord. The other thing we can see in this is that that mesencephalic aqueduct was small, and now it's starting to open and getting into a, will open ultimately into the fourth ventricle. These two masses on either side here are the caudal caliculi. So if you recall, on this hemisection of a brain, we'll have rostral caliculi and caudal caliculi that are involved with reflexes, so visual and hearing reflexes. So it's always eyes before ears, conscious and reflexes. So that would be the caudal caliculi. What's